Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to tell you about a time that I represented myself in court in a trial and was victorious and actually won the case and was found not guilty. Okay, so there's an old saying that says, he who represents himself in court has a fool for a client. Basically, you're an idiot if you even think to represent yourself in court. However, in this case, I felt that I was very confident and that I could represent myself well and actually better than any paid counsel could. It turned out to be correct. So I actually found some old notes that I had prepared and took with me to this trial as far as line of questioning. So I have those notes here and I'll read some of them as well. But the basic gist of the case was, it wasn't anything serious. This wasn't any of my serious criminal cases. This was after I came out of prison and I had just recently completed parole. Okay, so while I was on parole, I wasn't allowed to do anything. I wasn't going out. I wasn't drinking. I had a curfew of 9 p.m. So I wasn't, outside the home really at all, except for work. So a friend of mine convinced me to go to this party that he was throwing. He was throwing a yacht party where he rented this big yacht right on the Hudson River in Manhattan, and they launched the yacht and it goes out for like 4 or 5 hours and then you come back and dock. So I really didn't want to go. I'm not like a club party kind of guy, so because it was his event, I felt, all right, let me just go out there and support him basically by going. So I went out there, we went into Manhattan, we drove in, I had another guy with me. All right, I'm not going to reveal any information about this guy. He used to be a very good friend of mine. He's with me there also. So we end up drinking like ridiculous amounts. It was such a strange night for another reason also I'll share with you. But we had a bunch of bottles given to us for free. So I'm just drinking and drinking and drinking. And I got wasted. I got up from the table I was at and walked across the dance floor and went to look for my friend, right? And as this is happening, this whole group of Spanish girls surrounded me and ripped my shirt off me. I couldn't believe it. They actually ripped at my clothes and were pulling at me and took my shirt from me. And it sounds like it's a funny thing, but it wasn't funny because I was pissed because now I'm standing there like a fucking asshole with no shirt on at this party where everybody's dressed up. And it was a dress shirt like this. So I actually could not find the shirt. One of them stole it and did something with it. I don't know what they did with it. Kept it as a souvenir to I don't know what. But the shirt was gone. So now I'm drunk as hell with no shirt on. All right, so the boat comes back. We leave. Okay? I'm in my car. I got this Mercedes S600, this black on black Benz. And we're headed back into New Jersey. Okay? There are some parts of the story you have to understand that I can't reveal in their entirety for obvious reasons, but hear me out anyway. So we leave, right? It started raining and we get in an accident, okay? We get in an accident on the highway, car hydroplanes, spins out, crashes into the wall and bounces all over the place, and it was a bad accident, right? I'm not hurt, the other guy's not hurt either. So we get out of the car. State police show up. There were no other cars involved in the accident. It's like 5, 6 in the morning now also. Maybe a little earlier. State police show up on the scene and no one's in the car. It's me and this guy and we're both out of the car. I'm on the phone and again I have no shirt on now so I look suspicious as hell. And he's by the car, walked away or something, whatever. Cops come and start questioning us, right? So, long story short, I get arrested. I get charged with drunk driving because it's my car and because the guy said that I was driving. So, okay, I get arrested. I get bailed out. I'm fucking stressed now real bad because of what just happened. I was just off parole now, and here I am with a DUI and crashed the car and it's fucked up and I'm pissed, right? So I remember though at the moment, even though I was so drunk, I was already in my mind preparing for this trial in how I answered and responded to these state police. So we end up where I'm basically, I'm going to lose my license for like 2 years or something. So I had to go to trial. I was like, I'm not going to lose my license and pay all this money. Let's go to trial because I need them to be able to prove that I was the driver of that car. And here's where the notes come in. So this is the line of questioning that I had. And it was actually real funny because this court case happened in Patterson Superior Court in New Jersey. And it was packed. The room was packed full of people watching this trial. Okay, and me representing myself. And I put these state police on the witness stand one by one and started tearing into them. And these were some of the lines of questioning that I had. So the first question I had for this officer: how did you determine that I was the driver of the vehicle? And was there any documentation of injury? Did I ever admit to being the driver? Are there any witnesses claiming to have seen me drive? How many times did I state that I was not the driver of the vehicle? Did I or did I not tell you immediately that I had been drinking all night and was unable to drive? What was I wearing when you arrived? Was it obvious to you that I was impaired? What is the extent of your medical training? Did the other individual appear intoxicated at all? Now, with that, this guy didn't drink at all, the other guy I was with. Nothing. And he actually doesn't even live in this country. He lives on the other side of the world. So he was just here for a little bit and he was going to get on a plane and leave and never be seen again. So he was not present in this trial. And I counted on that. I knew they were going to call him as a witness and he was not going to come. Given the situation, who do you feel was more likely to have been the driver? Was I at all uncooperative at any time? Is it possible that I was not the driver of the vehicle? Is there anything I could have done on this evening in question to have convinced you that I was not driving? How can you have issued me a moving motor vehicle summons without ever having seen the vehicle in motion or even occupied, for that matter? All right. Just a couple more questions here. Have you achieved certification as an accident recreationist? Yes, no, and give me the details of that. The reason I ask is because they put this trooper, the state trooper, on the stand who said that he was a specialist in recreating accidents. And I ripped this guy up there, basically. I asked him to confirm where he was at the approximate time of the accident, and it was like 40 miles away from where we were located. So I basically told him, you're really here suggesting to us, to this courtroom full of people, that you have a supernatural ability to know what happened 40 miles away from your location at any given moment. Is that what you're really testifying here? That you have this magical power that you know exactly what happened there? Or is there a possibility that what you're saying is wrong? And that was how I got into that guy. Are you aware of any discrepancies in anything that I've said here today? Did I show you any kind of dishonesty since you and I had crossed paths? To the officer. Based on the complete lack of evidence against me, are you still confident that I was the driver of the vehicle in the night in question? Have I raised a reasonable doubt that the state's allegations may be wrong? Based on the questions I've raised, do you feel the state should continue pursuing a conviction against me in this matter? And that was basically it. I was resting my case on what I said. Reasonable doubt. Okay? I've told people many times in court when it comes to criminal charges, the truth doesn't matter. Guilty or not guilty doesn't matter. What matters is what's going to happen in that courtroom and what can you prove? What can the state prove or what can they not prove? And in this case, I had raised enough of a reasonable doubt where it was impossible that they were going to find me guilty. At the closing remarks, okay, after I gave my closing remarks, the judge made a statement which I found incredible. I tried to get the tapes, the video recordings from this, because I wanted to put it online. I couldn't get it. You guys would have laughed how I was ripping these cops up. But his closing remark was, I think in all fairness, we can all agree that it's very likely that the defendant is guilty. Unfortunately, due to his knowledge and ability to manipulate the law, I have no choice in this matter but to find him not guilty on all charges. Bang. When that happened, the whole courtroom erupted in cheers. Not only that, the cops, all the people in the courtroom were pointing at them, laughing at them, and the cops put their heads down and ran out. They ran out, and as they ran out, people were just mocking them, talking shit to them. All right? My girl, my wife, was in the crowd also, and she told me that when this happened, all these people started asking her for my business card because they wanted me to represent them in their cases also. So they thought I was actually an attorney. They had no idea that I was an ex-convict, going pro se and just winging it. And it was very, very fortunate for me, guys. I do agree with that initial statement about being a fool if you think you're going to represent yourself successfully in court. It's very, very difficult. And even if you're very knowledgeable about law, the way they trip you up is by using certain tiny, details and procedural errors that you can make that they can get you in where you won't be able to proceed and continue. This judge was very upset with me that I was representing myself. He actually tried to persuade me not to beforehand. He was being an asshole to me and told me, we're not going to sit here and let you waste our time where you don't know the procedures and the law and how they apply, and you're going to be asking questions and not knowing what to do. And I told him, I said, Judge, you know what? We are going to do exactly that. Exactly that. So aside from what you're recommending to me that I get a lawyer or do this or that, I'm going to exercise my legal right to defend myself here, and you can't stop me. So we will sit here and go through this whole entire thing as it plays out. And I remember after the case, after the judge slammed the gavel down with the verdict, I, trying to be the bigger man here, went to the prosecutor, who was an asshole, who was so fucking smug and confident that I was going to lose this case. He was laughing at me, during the proceeding in the beginning. I went and tried to shake his hand and told him, good job. And he wouldn't shake my hand. And I said, you won't even shake my hand, motherfucker? I said, how does it feel to know that your 20, 30 years of legal experience and so-called expertise, you just got your ass handed to you by a fucking high school dropout? I didn't even make it to high school, and an ex-convict. So enjoy that. Sleep well tonight, faggot. And I left. And that was it. So it was a real cool thing that happened for me. Not a cool story to have been involved in to begin with. But I thought you guys would be interested in this because it's very rare that someone represents themselves and wins. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.